Quad 1 geographic preference. Just tell me who and by how many. 8-4 to 2-1. Dick Vitale, go.
Hey, when you look at the East there, what an unbelievable lead. 2 Hall of Fame coaches, Izzo, Coach K. Difference in the game when the Spartans hook up with the Dukies, Zion Williamson and Mr. Barrett. They march on Duke. And then we go to the West. We got Gonzaga, the Zags. I love their front court led by Hachimura. They are outstanding. I look for the Zags to win that battle against Michigan and their defense. We look certainly in the South. You look at that battle there. Virginia's the #1 seed. Their Achilles heel, baby, as Al McGuire would say, is going to be Tennessee. The Vols experience. And then we go to the Midwest, North Carolina, Kentucky, Blue Bloods, baby, going at it. I got Kentucky winning that matchup. Now we go back, and Duke in the East will take on, yes, they meet Gonzaga East against West. Duke in a rematch from earlier in the year wins that battle. And then we got, for the 4th time, Kentucky and Tennessee. Sorry, Big Blue Nation. Tennessee's experience is going to prevail again, setting up Duke and Tennessee for the national championship. And the 6th title is going to go to Coach K because Zion will not let them lose.
All right, let's go to the East. And the East is going to be fascinating as we get down to this Duke pick. Duke is playing against Michigan State. I think that's going to be a very big-time game. I have Duke winning that matchup. I think Zion Williamson will be too much for them. Duke advances. As we go to the West, Zags versus Texas Tech. I have the Zags moving on from that. Love the Zags when they play. Let's go out to the South. You have UVA versus Tennessee. I have Tennessee winning that matchup because of Admiral Schofield and Grant Williams. Then North Carolina versus Kentucky. I have Kentucky moving past North Carolina. Ashton Higgins will be the difference maker in that. Getting down to the Final Four, Duke versus Zags. I have Duke winning that matchup. I think Trey Jones will do a good job on Josh Perkins. Duke advances. Tennessee versus Kentucky for the 4th time. I actually have Kentucky winning that matchup. Reed Travis, P.J. Washington will be too much. Duke and Kentucky in the championship. Kentucky revenge game, Champions Classic all over again. Kentucky beats Duke for the national championship.
Yeah, I've got Duke and Michigan State playing, and Duke just too physical, too powerful. Zion Williamson, a difference maker in that game in the West. Zags and Texas Tech. I love this Texas Tech team. I think Texas Tech physically, defensively, athletically, and they're making shots. Got Texas Tech winning that one. Virginia and Tennessee in the South. I got UVA moving on and getting to that Final Four. And then they got UNC and Kentucky. I like Kentucky winning that game. When you get to Duke and Texas Tech, I think Duke moves on. I think even in a rematch game, a revenge game, Duke playing at a high level. And then you've got Virginia and Kentucky. I got Kentucky winning that game in a grinder, and then Duke winning the national championship.
I have absolute chaos going on through the Sweet 16. No, through the Sweet 16, absolute chaos. In the Elite 8, we will have order restored. I've got Duke and Michigan State. Which team has Zion?
Duke.
Okay, I think I'll have Duke move on.
Okay.
In the West, Gonzaga and Michigan. I have Michigan moving on to get to the Final Four as a #2 seed. Virginia and Tennessee, I think this is Virginia's year, which I thought last year was Virginia's year. It turned out it was UMBC's year. But I think this year is Virginia's year, so I think they're gonna move on to the Final Four. And then North Carolina, Kentucky, I think North Carolina is gonna get some revenge, and they're gonna move on to the Final Four. In the Final Four, I have Duke beating Michigan because Michigan does not have Zion Williamson. I noticed that on their roster. And then I've got North Carolina getting by Virginia. Remember, Virginia beat them in the Dean Dome earlier this year. And in yet another rematch, because North Carolina does not have Zion Williamson either, but they've got the best hair in this tournament with Kobe White. And I think Kobe White, if he gets the last shot this time, is going to go in.
That is the ultimate trump card. Here in my Elite 8, we are a bunch of chalk-eating weasels. I got in the East, I've got Duke and Michigan State too, although I am a little skeptical of Michigan State. If they can get past Louisville, I guess I've got them going out. I've got Belmont in Sweet 16, but I'll have Duke, Michigan State in the East, Duke moving on because they have Zion. I've got Gonzaga, and you got to find one bracket in there that's going to get turned upside down. I'll go Buffalo. They play fast, they score, they get in there into the date, but Gonzaga is going to move on out of the West. Virginia and Tennessee, worried about both of them, play slow. Going to go with Tennessee to make it to the Final Four, and then North Carolina, Kentucky, I'll go with Carolina. Then I'll have Carolina and Duke advancing in their Final Four games and playing for the ultimate trump card. And who does Zion Williamson play for again?
I think he plays for Duke.
Yeah, Blue Devils.
And I'm going to go with Duke.
So 2 Duke picks, 1 North Carolina, and 1 Kentucky.